disbelieve him, so find this out in your discussion. He likes prawns and petai sambal. Seriously? And this is a Matsale man who likes durian. Can you believe that? And he's also asked me to inform you, ladies and gentlemen, that he is here for Christmas and New Year. He's open to accept your invitations.
Welcome to the meeting of minds. So, actually, when Vig asked me if I'd facilitate the meeting of minds, I was kind of pleased actually, because I find that when people meet my mind, it often ends badly. So I'm glad I'm not down there with you. So yeah, this was the first image that came into my head. Meeting of minds. Do you all know who that is? That's Mr. Spock. It's the Vulcan mind meld. Okay, but in the absence of being able to suck the ideas out of your head, we've devised this fiendish exercise. Now you all understand, I hope, how it works. Do you all understand how it works? Okay, so roughly speaking, this is how it works. You get 10 minutes at each table. And I'll be around, and there'll be various other people around to tell you how much time you've got left. So 10 minutes to discuss the topic. Then you get up. There's a bell. You get up and you move to the next table. Okay. So we can expect a certain amount of chaos when that happens. But you know, we're already a little bit late, and so this is something that we've got to achieve pretty quickly. Okay. So you get up. You go to the next table. Now, those of you who are on table 10, over there, okay, your next table is table 1. And table 1 is over there. So once you hit table 10, then you've got a long sprint around the back of the room to get to table 1. So that you can get to your table, okay? So you're all right on table 1. You'll just be able to progress. It's like a snake, actually. So it goes along there, and then it goes back the other way, and then it goes back the other way to table 10. Okay? So those of you in the back row, you'll be going that way. In the middle row, you'll be going that way. In the front row, you'll be going this way. At table 4, oh, you've only got to go over there to table 5, so it's kind of easy for you. So that's how it's going to work.
And we also focus on behavior change. So we are actually investing in our company, we are also investing in that new technology to spark.
Okay, so basically the one that we see, there's a lot more investment, human capital, because as a service provider, we believe that is the most important thing, going to the experience economy, knowledge economy. So in terms of ROI, basically you can see it immediately after 1 or 2 years, spending an amount of resources on a specific batch of intakes. You can see the different engagement they will be able to provide to the customers. We have more than 40 clients at the moment, and more than 7,000 agents. So basically, investment on this human capital is very important.
You're trying to invest, right? So you have to actually change how they behave in order to get the investment back, right?
Yes, that is possible, because before they join, we have a very specific profiling methods. So we know that who can be more to a certain behavior, and when we put in more resources, Cik Din's team, Najib's team will be able to basically bring them to the desired level of.
So is there any analytics kind of a measure to, like, before and after?
Yeah, we do that. Yeah. That is one of the investment that we also.
Is it more tangible or intangible kind of outcome normally?
The outcome we like to look at it as tangible. Because when you go to the board of directors, intangible return is not something that they are it's easy to justify. So basically, when we have highly trained and highly knowledgeable workforce in our organization, the return can be seen by higher customer retention, lower I would say, amount of churn business. So basically, that is very tangible. Good enough for them.
Would you mention so far we have done stuff like that, to see penetration of the customer, in order to justify the investment?
Yeah, those are one of the most important, I would say, tangible ROI that should be measured and managed.
This is a client perspective.
Client perspective.
Okay. There's an in-house perspective.
In-house perspective.
That's right.
Also from all the different
Yes,
departments.
yes.
Okay.
This is from the sales perspective.
From the sales.
For the consultant, for us, we are new. I won't say a startup, but it's a new company. So it's we are new in the market, challenging the incumbents. So what we do differently is that we cannot compete in terms of coverage, in terms of speed, in terms of pricing. So what we invest first initially always on the people. So what makes the difference is when you invest in the people, the ideas come from them. They will try to grow with the company. So give different ideas on how we can actually improve. Rather when you, I'm not saying we don't invest in the network and so on, but the initial stage is always invest in the people, make sure the company is strong as a company, then only we start moving up with the packaging and the pricing.
So you don't worry about the hardware at the beginning, you worry about the software for
Yes.
the people.
Basically, you get the right people, then
Let them thrive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So ours, and I think Steve has mentioned just now, start here, go anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why we allow mistakes to be happen in the company.
Okay.
We don't limit, oh no, this has to be this way, this way. Obviously there are governance, there are processes and all that, but in principle, we allow all levels of the organization to make mistakes, give ideas, and move forward, and we work as a team.
Is it like a strategy to actually then this is a good strategy to attract the new millennials workers?
Yes, definitely. When we started,
1 minute to go.
I would say about 2 years ago when we started talking about EV,
Yeah.
we do hire from outsiders that comes in.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just have to be from telco industry,
Yeah.
but we also hire from the fresh grads industry. So we have different point of view when it comes to coming in together, rather than just a very solid perspective. Telco have this mindset and so
Yes,
on.
yes,
So when we hire a mixture of people come in. So again, I say the people comes first, then only the ideas with the products, everything comes naturally.
Naturally.
Yeah.
So you provide a culture for them to
Correct.
actually
And then we invest in the training.
training for the people.
That is where things start.
Any one last minute?
Technology provider.
For technology provider, I guess it's always been the same. We've always invested in R&D. We always invest in people. I think my company Genesis has done a great job in investing in people as well. And I think the news has shown that we are still investing in technology. We're acquiring other companies to improve what we can deliver to our customers. Genesis has been doing the same business for quite a while now, so we really just have
Okay, your time's up. Change tables.
A lot of companies, instead of looking into what kind of customer experience we want to create and then look for the technology to help create the experience, they look into what kind of technology do we have so that we can actually enhance the customer experience. So this is a topic that we are talking about, and let's start with somebody from the customer side.
I think it's both. Yeah.
Both?
When we want to, we use for our customer experience surveys, right? We after after having served the customer, right? Then if we find that the customer has contacted us more than a certain number of times, we actually send a survey to the customer. Actually, our customers are business partners, yeah. So we ask questions, yeah, and that is collated and with the NPS and things like that. So that's something that we do.
I suppose today technology, in terms of automation, that's one of it that we do today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Manju is from DHL, right? So DHL is one of the companies that is actually quite advanced in using technologies to create customer experience. I agree with you. So one of the things is like tracking the systems way before things happen. They think about how do you actually create that kind of experience, and DHL actually use technology to help create customer experience, so that when you can do your trackings and all that, a part of it. And DHL also uses technologies or leverage technologies to enhance the experience as well. Thank you, Manju. That was a very good.
For this, we only give information on traffic traffic status from our side. But when customers speak to us, we can't reply. We are not allowed. But in order to get real traffic light, so we launched Plus Mobile Plan.
So in class, right? So what do you consider it as customer experience?
So the customer may know before they enter our lane, before this, they're facing traffic jam. So since we have a Plus app, they will know more on our traffic center and they won't enter the
highway,
because of the jam. So it is the driving time.
I think that's a good example. One of the things that's bring up is, what is actually the definition of customer experience? A lot of them, if you look into some definition, Wikipedia is about customer interaction. Customer experience encompasses more than interaction. In the case of Plus, for example, it's not about interacting with Plus. There's nothing to interact, right? It's about the experience of using the road, information that I want, so that whether I want to use the road or not, or the highway or not. I think that's a very good example of let's not get sidetracked into thinking that customer experience is only about interaction. It's about using the products and using the services as well.
So you actually changed the experience from a negative one to a positive one.
And it's a mix.
Previously, there's a basic app where you actually can check the bill and all these things. So what we enhanced is we have nowadays you can download 3 months bill. You can purchase your quota. You can check the quota. So there's even more quota.
3 minutes, everyone.
Now you can check that. So that's how we enhance
Talk faster.
that's my experience. So and more to them, we can tell them that every information is at fingertips, so you don't have to really knowledge.
For me, it's very simple. I see technology as an enabler. And it's you have to start with what are you trying to deliver, what are you trying to do, and I think more and more service design practices, customer journey mapping is coming in. I think people are taking a far more customer-in approach rather than outside in rather than inside out approach. And then technology becomes the enabler.
You have GSE mobile app also, so from there you can check the show times, can check the seat availability, and then can check all the available. Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's
In the product side and the business side. But in my organization, the customer center plays a big role because we really understand where the customers came from. DBS
thanks.
Yeah, so we actually pretty much manage the customer side, and what we look at is all the where the customer fail out and actually try to contact us. So we actually study what are the customers. So this is a failure demand for us because they're opting out of pages and coming in. So we actually study the trend and what are they asking from those pages, and we enhance those pages so that they actually are able to do everything they need to do in those pages.
Yeah, so that's basically from the touch point perspective. It's from the banking service perspective.
Okay, you've got to stop talking and move. On the digital customer experience.
Less clue on this omni-channel. Do you believe that the next step from that multi-channel is going to be omni-channel? You have to be multi-purpose. Fair enough. So when it comes to omni-channel, from my perspective, let me put my experience. From my perspective, omni-channel is something which brings all the channels together, and whatever channel the customer is trying to look at, he needs to get the same level of experience in that channel.
All right.
So let's say I'm calling in and I try to buy something, and the call fails. Next time, what I do is I get an SMS from the company saying, sorry, the call dropped. Should we call it back at some other time? So immediately sends a message saying, so I'm using voice and chat and voice and SMS. Similarly, I'm trying to get different channels to actually have that kind of a conversation with the customer using different channels, but giving you the same experience. So that's what I call omnichannel. I can probably hear out some other things.
Allow me to share whether it's omnichannel, single channel, or multi-channel. Don't you think that those are just a tool or enabler?
It's a cross-channel business model.
You have to have link back to the other two topics.
Correct, customer
The
experience.
culture, the company culture, the brand values that drive these channels, at work. You know? So if that is a flaw in the beginning, regardless how many channels you have, your customer will not have a consistent experience with the brand. So those are things. So the root cause have to fix the culture, the brand value first. So that's why UOB had a very good example of having 30% of KPI in that way. So every employee, understand the 400 and 4. Yeah? So, because certain companies have 20 values and so on until the employee don't even know what it is. So important also is simplicity, and so with that, I think UOB set a very good foundation to move forward when it comes to whatever channels and multiple channels that are moving forward. So good job.
So fantastic. So that's a very good view in terms of how brand value actually brings in channels. Any other thoughts about what omnichannel is, and are we there? Are we getting from that particular thing?
Omni means plenty, multi, whatever. So we got many ways to contact Sanaga. You see, you can call, you can walk over, you can shout, you can yell, you can do all this. You can write. Sometimes they answer you in a day, sometimes they honor, sometimes they don't honor. So I think it's not about omni-channel or whatever. I think it's about if you promise and you deliver the brand promise. If you see, whether over the phone or whether you come straight, I mean, that is the challenge that we are facing. We are now in the midst of like doing DYDX and put the integration here and there, who's doing, who's not, and try to understand that. If you really understand customer experience, a very simple thing, how to make your customer pay for your business, in the happiest way, you gain and the customer gain. People don't want things free, or rather they want things free, but at the same time they also want their return for value or money guarantee or whatever, you say. But here, they get angry because they say, oh, you cannot come to the counter, you have to go to the machine. But when you go to the machine, they get frustrated. So it's the seamless thing that we say, but it is not so seamless. The challenge is closing the gap. That's from Tenaga point of view. And I got 18,672 customers as staff in Malaysia. That's doing a lot of brainwashing so that in my contact center, only about 400 plus, but I'm talking about outside where you have 18,000 out there, 400 in the contact center, and
talk the same language.
Yeah, to say the same thing, so that the customer will get. That's my challenge, and I hope I've shared some insight on it.
I don't think we are there yet, but I don't think we are behind. I think this is evolution. You have to evolve because your time evolve, technology evolve. You cannot say you've come to a point of perfection at any point, because if you do, then you become complacent. Right? It's an evolution, and you keep improvising, you keep building upon it.
Our motto is know me, serve me, delight me. So as a customer, many times when we start calling one channel, we have to repeat to the next channel because nobody has one single platform to know the history of the customer's engagement and how many times. So that is what we meant by omni-channel, and we want that. Means anywhere, he could be in the call center, he could be at the branch, he could be at the self-service, but we know the whole history of the customer just by clicking the link. Correct. And the moment he comes in, I already know the profile of calling. I know how to serve him. At the end of the day, it's the true customer service.
It's so humble, It's so humble.
For minute. Okay. We have the unmatched customer experience. On top of that, we also have the ICE. ICE is where I connect, I enrich, I assign. That means every customer walking or calling have to be connect first. Understand about customers' need and enrich them. That means knows about their profile and also assign them with the things that we go to product. If let's say you call here and we want to know what we can upsell to you, this will be connect and enrich and assign to customers so that we can do a cross-selling or upselling to the customer based on the profile or the need for.
One more thing that we make exactly what our VOV friend said just now, which is we can't just gel with, because we have so many operations. I have 104 outlets. If the person went to Perlis outlet and then for some reason 2 weeks later he went to Kuantan outlet.
Okay, that's it, stop talking and move to the next table.
Thank you so much. Now, we talk about touch points.
Okay. Now, it is all about being consistent across all of touch points. Because if one touch point, remember the cake analogy that I gave yesterday, if one touch point is not doing so well, there goes the image of the organization. Alright? Now, what do you think your organization can or plan to do more of after attending these 2 days in terms of driving the brand promise and driving the brand values across all of your touch points?
Every touch point has a purpose, right? So we just want to align back that purpose, and every touch point has a different skill set. And today, everybody goes through the same training, same whichever one we want to do. But it should be customized. Like for example, social media, the interaction with social media is very much different than email, but people always misunderstood. So then align email to social media because it's writing channel. So these are the confusion that we are currently having. So to align it back properly so that it can be executed well.
All the channels, because each one, some of it is appraised based on different methodology or in terms of even the metrics. So I think there should be a consistent metrics across whatever to ensure that it's seamless, whichever channel the customer is using, the customer experience is spot on across based on similar metrics, whatever the different is.
Before even going into the customer touch point, I think internalization of the brand, the values and the promise has to go on within, because if your employees don't buy it, they're not going to be able to sell it, right? So once your employees actually buy it, you can sell it better to your customers, and then incorporating it to every opportunity we have in terms of contact with them, I think makes a whole lot of difference than just focusing only on customer touch points.
So touching on internalization, how do you foresee we can do that more of in our organization?
It's a bit of a challenge, right? But I think if each and every department sits in and experiences what this department is doing, I think that will help. You know, like finance would sit in with the service desk, and service desk will do a courier thing, so that they can experience and know what challenges are.
You know, the wild ideas could be simplifying, you know, the 27 values into 3.
Glamorize it. We do so many things, but at the end of the day, you know, usually it sits within, touch point sits within operations, so it becomes an operational mundane. It's lack of, for lack of better word, glamour, do all these things. But in actual fact, we do a lot of things that we can value in a certain way.
Okay. Give an example of how do we glamorize a value.
Something like that. Because the brand itself is already glamour enough. To me, I find it. You don't even need to preach into the value of the company or whatsoever. But the fact that you're working for the company itself is already glamour. It's just like working for Louis Vuitton or any
the brand name.
Right.
Yeah.
So it becomes an employer of choice.
Yes, that's right.
You know,
That's right.
I work with athletes.
Yes, exactly.
People won't ask you what you're doing there, right? By you mentioning about the company, etc. The wow factor is there.
You won't be scared to walk around
And they won't ask you,
company
they won't ask you, no, how is it working there or whatever. They won't even ask you what you're doing there,
Right.
because they know, that sense of it.
Anyone knows what is the brand promise of Apple? No, you just know Apple.
Yes.
Right? It's called Think Different. Okay, and that's the brand promise. And I think they deliver that quite well. Right? In terms of their brand promise. It's really interesting in terms of the product.
3 minutes, everyone. 3 minutes.
Anyone else?
Company culture itself makes a difference in terms of the environment for the employees, the experience. That's why people want to work with companies like this. And I think they're very sexy in terms of the look. They make it, it's
so glamorized,
it's glamour to carry one.
Sexy rise. Okay. You get that, right?
So whether it is or not, but the way outside and externally people when you're looking at it, it shows there is. So you don't have to do much advertisement or whatever to have the pull factor. People willingly want to join because based on that thought that you have in mind or whatever.
And a lot of it comes from the employees. The employees themselves will make it look Right.
Segment is well, because
Yes,
it's different.
Now, looking into your own organization, right? Zero being there's a whole lot of work that we need to do, right? And 10 being we are already there, looking at your own organization. Okay, where are you in terms of incorporating your brand values in all of the touch points? Like customer comes into interaction. 2, 3, alright? Wow.
You said 3 hours. You should me. We have 5 sentences.
Because they are trying, I give them credit because we just did an exercise. I think it's 6. There's a lot of things.
1 minute to go, everyone.
But the conscious
Keep the insights coming.
Go forward and them doing it, I think.
4. Yeah. Alright. So on 6. So on average is about 4.73.
Right now, as a company, there is a branding exercise which is taking place, right? And the first approach that they are doing is also trying to personalize it. And taking that, I'm actually doing one for my team, which is one of the larger groups around. So having and linking it back to the main values, I think is
okay, that's it.
We had one of our retail brands have a social media presence that had not responded to a customer inquiry for 2.5 years prior to that. Now I got on there and there were comments on there that were on that day and the day before and the day before that and the day before that complaining about our service and no response. I said, why are we not responding to these? And the answer was, the guy that used to do it left and we didn't know the password. So I said, turn it off today. Turn it off. If we're not going to be engaging, it cannot be there. So we turned it off for about a month while we rebuilt and then turned it on. And so very, very foundational. If you're going to have a presence, it's got to be active and it's got to be monitored. And to this day, we're like, within minutes response time, generally speaking. But then, that's not even building your customer experience, but absolutely destroying it if you're going to have a channel that you're paying attention to.
I can't really get on to call. They can't solve my problem. Nobody's returning my call. I resort to social media to get some attention. However, when I get that attention, what I get is, please call my call center or please call whoever. Is that the right thing that, then you might as well turn it off. Like you said, what's the point of turning it on if you can't help me anyway? So I don't know about various businesses, but there are still a lot of companies who are doing that. They're throwing it back to the customer at the end of the day. And Apple is one actually, I've seen. Even though whatever they say, they are not really very good in social media. Yes. You'd be surprised. Depending on the situation.
That's like a big difference.
But the thing is that you reply so fast to my inquiry on Facebook, right? You at least respond. You don't even pick up my calls, for example, or you don't even call me back. So that is a different issue altogether. Yes.
They ask you to PM? Ask you to PM
they just say call us. Customers were asking on their social media, is this true? And the management was really fast. When I saw them doing it, I was like, okay, what's happening? They're on late. My husband was like, okay, I understand. They're like, okay, this is what's happening. They're spreading wrong information around, and they're managing it, trying to maintain content. They're not really solving the customer issue. I think that's a pretty good strategy. Please monitor. That helps. So that's it.
I think now I hear a lot of the use of social media have kind of solved problems and customers have problems. Have you leveraged social media on other form of experiences, like for example maybe selling or does it help? And customers respond are the conversion good?
When it's incentivized, in my experience. So when we've run a handful of campaigns that have gotten some kind of reward for customers by social media. We look at our stats and we get highest levels of engagement, highest levels of conversion when those are running, and then drops through the floor. So I think it's a very common customer habit to respond well when you're getting something in return over and above the product that you're having to buy. But I think it's, for us personally, we haven't done it well yet. The cost of acquisition is very high. When you look at the marketing investment in
3 minutes, everyone.
But I think if done well, it can be a hugely powerful selling platform. But you need to invest to have the right capability to drive it.
What is the turnaround time, for the performance tracking report for the that's really lacking at this moment. We're still sourcing for a better tool for us to actually tighten the monitoring.
Firstly, we use it for marketing. Any new product come out, we just publish it there. So customer will comment. Yeah, they ask questions or they say how to buy. Yeah, our social media actually handled by 2 teams. If the customer just comment on the advertisement, the marketing team will reply to it because that advertisement sent out published by marketing team. If the customer complain, relate some issues about their personal experience, not so pleasant, I need someone to help me, then we will ask the customer to please PM. If the customer PM,
1 minute to go, everyone.
Customer service team will reply to that PM. So it's 2 parts of it. One part
Remember, there's an iPod Mini for the person who engages the most.
Social media as a service channel. Yeah.
One
Then
of
the challenge
those.
we are facing now is that, again, similarly, we don't have a perfect tool yet, a complete tool yet to measure the efficiency of the agent, the productivity, whether are they meeting service level or not. But we just purchased a system to help us to distribute tasks to the agent. Last time just says that a group of agents, you handle social media, they will just go in and do it. But now it's very specific. Agent A, you will have this volume. The system will distribute to you. So we have that tool now, so we can see that the productivity is increased. We also can ensure that the case the customer posted, someone actually handle it. Yeah, we can have sort of like is able to measure now.
Okay, up you get. You've done.
So talent management is basically attracting, developing, engaging, and retaining talent. Do we link the 4 quadrants with our CX? An example of what this current table does. What Nexus does is their CX strategy is very much into digitalization. Everything is digitalization. So they start from the get-go, from their hiring also via digitalization. Their candidates are hiring via video mails, digital. And ensures what they do is, because they feel that within the industry, talents are quite stagnant and very inward thinking, so they tend to hire from outside to improve their CX experience. So how about you guys?
Yeah, see, customer experience is being discussed blank what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, but I have not seen the people aspect, at least from my view.
So you don't see being linked from the people who are
now. Then either there is phase 2 or phase 3, I don't know. But they know they need this kind of people because of this new technology. The way they do things is different, and we need the training needs to be different, the selection needs to be different. But in terms of practice or putting something in place, we have not put anything in place for a CX kind of recruitment strategy. I personally don't.
Is it because the margin is not enough?
I don't know. I cannot answer.
It is part of the approach that we take, that talent or people, the people part, it has to be taken into consideration, plus the performance management, reward and recognition. So whenever we recommend, whenever we work with a client, one of the recommendations other than communication is the people strategy. So which means includes talent, looking at the right people, recruiting the right people, and molding the right people.
So do you think talent management should be the KPI for being a
KPI.
It is right.
I mean,
in general,
yes. Whether it's implemented or not.
But at the end of the day, it's the end result, the real customer experience. So how you correlate? If there is something can really correlate with talent, with the outcome, then I think our management want to see that I want to invest here. I want to see the ROI. That's the, at the end of the day.
There's a good point there, right? So do you think because sometimes we are pushed for the end results, we tend to shave off beginning part?
Unfortunately, I mean,
that's how it works, right?
Because in the end, it's always about the ROI. When you talk about ROI, it's always about dollar and cents. If we cannot get the project at the right price, we want to have that project, then we have to shift here and there. In the end, talent management is not and it will affect the CX strategies. And then sometimes customers, they know what they're getting into because they are paying X amount of money, so you cannot get a double X kind of output. That's why I agree with that. Really?
Probably I can add something. For us, I would not say during the hiring we use CX as part of the strategy or even for that matter. But moving forward, or even how we do things today, we are moving all our solutions in terms of internal solutions, everything to apps and online, meaning even on the staff directory. Typical staff directory, use your Outlook, find the name, find the phone number. But for us, we have even apps, even with a face photo, even for you to communicate directly to them, so you know who they are. Even on our leave application, performance management, everything is on apps nowadays. So you can allow the staff to even go outside of office and still manage their performance, manage their requirement, and even on the knowledge base, we have apps for.
Well, is it the same platform for them for their CX also?
Because that's why we talk about talent management or on the internal versus CX, I would say end users. So we do have two different separate suites. One for the internal, we have 3 or 4 apps for internal and one single app for our end customers. So for us, I would not say talent management is specifically for CX strategy, but for us to
3 minutes to go.
We use apps to bring down the digital world between our customers and even internal. Because if your internal also not used to using apps, and all that, how do you expect them to serve the customers using it?
So if time and cost was not a consideration, what would you all do to link your talent management?
Identifying the correct talent is never easy. At the first phase, everyone puts on a mask to come back to show something great. But it's the eventual, it's what happens after that when they start making, that's when you see the actual person who takes off the mask and goes someplace like
see the one 6 months.
Yeah. So I guess it's more towards grooming the correct talent towards your CX strategy. So if you have that funds, focus or strategize on how you want to use that funds to actually groom that particular talent towards your CX. Because it's never easy. It's never easy getting the correct talent. You may get somebody who is perfect at interview, and then after 1 week, you leave it because of something else.
So it's all together in one. From there, you have to think when we participate in
1 minute to go.
You see that they lack in careers or motivation to try to find out why. Because sometimes it can be a small matter of just like being with people inside. If the leaders, team leaders or managers want to try to find out what makes people lag behind, for example, in context as to why you didn't get 5, why 20 people. What is the reason for that? Personal motivation is about feeding your employee fuels so that they can feedback the customers. The culture is overall culture. It cannot be different. You cannot say that user experience, customer experience, or employee experience is different. It's all the same. How the way you do it.
I got like 10 seconds left, so the short answer is definitely yes. We have to remember that when we talk about CX, it's not
okay, off you go to your next table.
Some point along the line is omni-channel.
Up you go, I know you're getting tired.
Agents,
Keep moving.
Definitely.
Hey.
My
It can be also within a contact center. Can we move away from voice simply as well? We move away from to chat or interacting with customer on instant messaging, being proactive with customers, anticipate their needs, using the channels they use every day, instant messaging. That could be also leveraging digital when people are reaching a contact center, as an example, or virtual intelligence assistants.
I think recently what we started was a digital interview, where you actually screen candidates to a digital interview, and then when you go through the normal hiring process. That's one, and then fully self-serve for customers. Totally self-serve, that means we are trying to minimize calling to contact centers, where customers will be able to do total self-serve from the IVR, from the Maxis app, and all these things. So that's where Maxis is, and they call it the M18.
Yeah, the M18, I know that. Yeah.
You know, right?
Yes. So self-service is
self-serve, unmatched customer experience. To provide seamless customer experience across the channel.
So it's interesting things because in all the trend when you push self-service, right, it creates also you need to educate customers. It creates always a period, can be short or long, where you need to educate, also help customers to get there, support them in their self-service journey, and not take over. Are you taking that into account?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because most of the customers, sometimes when we put them in self-serve, when they read us back in touch point, they're quite happy that the way the system is self-serve, the way they get information from the self-serve, they give us good feedback that things is working for them. Not all of them like to be on self-serve, but majority of them, when we put them in, they say they give good feedback. Yeah, I like this. I think I can do it myself.
Okay. Any feedback or?
Currently, we are having that fast mobile apps that using from the phone. Okay, before this customer make a complaint on our highway, they have to send email photos. But this one, they can use the apps, take a photo, and then exact location of the complaint will go to us immediately. So our people inside will straight go to the site and investigate and rectify it on the same day, and then give feedback to the customer immediately. But it will be launching, I think, by next year.
That's your plan?
That's our plan. But currently, we are having problems because, like what you say, send email on Friday, so we are not working Saturday, Sunday. So Monday only we'll look into the email. For this one, immediate. So you have somebody to at site. So this is given to our site people. Now it's only our people looking after.
That's an interesting topic. We are not in a different time, in a different table.
For us, what we have started to do is because we have not only in Malaysia, we have in Czech Republic and Costa Rica. So we don't follow the sun. So we have people, regardless of where you are, but the support can be anywhere, right? So we contact the support, and the issue can be in Malaysia or in any part of the world. Yeah. So we still have that has to continue because I'm from DHL, right? Okay. You need to continue. You cannot stop.
So what are you working on?
I don't know whether this is very much related. I mean, I'm right, but we are looking at like touch points, right? And one is like look at how can we make it easier for our callers, right? So I always call them because our callers are all business partners. It is not that customer, but our business partner, meaning express users, right? Internet. So then now we can't open up like Yammer, right? For them to contact us via Yammer or Microsoft Link. We try to move away from the traditional mode of contact. So that's what we have started, and slowly we are building that.
Thank you.
One of the things that we are actually doing for the customers is using the analytical data, okay, and push it to visual IVR. So the visual IVR does not only hold your normal IVR 1, 2, 3, but today, if I'm in the bank and I have a failed transaction, my IVR flow is one for failed transaction. So we change using the analytical data and push the visual IVR to work on the different nodes. So that means
personalization.
yes. So
the agent or whoever is handling that particular customer will know that it's
They know,
failed.
they know the queue already.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
We throw. Okay.
Our management, they don't allow IVR. That's our problem. Yeah. Because most our highway users are on emergency issues. We proposed, I think 2-3 years ago, until every year, to have the IVR.
1 minute to go.
Number two. Number one is emergency. Number two for alternative. Still they don't allow.
I think it's a very good point because IVR, you must see what kind of business can use IVR, right? Yeah. Perhaps in your case, because it's emergency. Yeah.
Ours is more emergency.
Right,
But we are
exactly.
worried. Our mentality of our mission people, they will pick number one. So the emergency will queue. That's the thing.
But
And
do you have a
statistics on how many percent of cars coming in?
Yeah,
our highest is on emergency.
So that, because it's just simply pick one, right?
The interesting thing is, yeah, you can use CRM data.
And you know that in the contact center, there are heaps of metrics that we actually measure. We have service levels to abandonment rate, to first call resolution, to complaint. We've got so many bugs. What exactly is the right metrics to apply for customer experience? So if we can go around the table, you can share with me which organization is this and what metrics that you apply in your center.
Okay, cepat kita tak ada masa. We are very basic and traditional, so it's quite standard. I come to learn about this first thing called 80-20.
80-20.
So when I introduced 80-20 to my CEO, he got nuts and he told me what is 80-20. So I explained, and he said, why 20 seconds? Talking from customer's experience, forget about me as being CEO, I want 80-0. Please do it.
That one is emergency. For emergency, 100% zero emergency.
So I told him, I explained to him, can, but at a cost.
Yes, that's right.
Right? It's
That's
an
right.
FTE cost.
That's
So
right.
having gone through all that, then he said, well, you're telling me you're increasing my business, so can I reduce your salary? That was 5 years ago conversation. And today, I still keep on saying 80-20 and he's still staring at me. So, but are we using the right metrics? Yeah, I think we are because it's quite common in the market. It is acceptable, and it is a way for us to continue to measure. Are we better off or we worse off? And can we raise the bar? Of course, raising the bar means increasing your investment in terms of resources. Really, even if you increase by 5 basis points, it means additional resources to pick up.
NPS measurement of this thing is actually handled by another department. We call it market management. But at our call center itself, we just upgrade our ABR, whereby then only we just started with customer can actually rate us from the ABR itself. So we just started, so we don't have
Betul lah dia brand. Which insurance company are you?
So applying the right metrics to measure customer experience is very important to us. So at the moment you have no choice, you cannot leave us. At the moment, let me put it in better. At the moment, right? What if tomorrow you do have an option to leave tonight? As a customer, you have loyalty issue and price issue. Anybody in the business, first they'll give you lower price, after that they'll put on you. Tenaga, I'm not a monopoly because I don't set the price. The day I set the price in Parliament, then I'm the monopoly. Supplier, single largest supplier. So applying the right metrics at this moment, we have IBR, which is incentive-based regulation. It means the government measures us based on performance, efficiency, and investment cost. Uptime, yeah. I mean, you see, at the moment, our SID, which is System Average Interruption Duration Index, in simple terms, the number of minutes that you don't have electricity in your house in 1 year, on average in Malaysia is 60 minutes. So 60 minutes is 1 hour. That means every person in Malaysia, you will experience without electricity 1 hour in 1 year time. So in actual fact, right, you know, whether you're sleeping or whether you don't.
How many hours a year?
8,760 hours.
Wow, very good calculation. Okay.
525,600 minutes.
3 minutes.
But you see, okay,
3 minutes more.
doesn't matter. That's the 3 minutes wait. This is interesting, right? I mean, if you talk about, it's not about me, it's about understanding,
Correct,
right?
yeah.
Okay, when you measure right customer experience, so that's why this, the right customer experience will be
the value that the customer pay. I mean, if you feel what you're paying for your lifestyle, you're okay, I'm sure you don't have any issue, number one. Number two, for us, we measure how long do they have to wait, and if they have to wait for some services, is it really inconveniencing? Answer is yes. We are trying to make it seamless and quick as possible. Of course, I'm telling you, long journey which we have started with a few baby steps where trying to minimize, and with the app My TNB, I don't know whether you have heard of it. If you have, please use it. It's not as good as what we really wanted, but the day if you really wanted, you just have My TNB, MYTNB. You log in. Once you have your details, the bill account, so you will know your bill amount and things like that. Basically, what you want to know about Tenaga? Hey, have I paid my bill? Don't disconnect my supply. My house got no supply. When can I have my supply back? Basically, you only remember Tenaga when there's no supply or when you're bill. So now we are changing things to a way where, because at the end of the day, we need electricity to survive, we need water to survive. These two are basic necessities. So we are trying to go into an era where people will still support us because, of course, we are moving forward. I mean, from that to renewable energy, because investment is very high. I mean, like I said just now, the 60 minutes, right? You want it zero, fine. But you know the cost that we have to invest in Malaysia, we don't talk about anything less than billions, you know. And a lot of billions will go to my family members, you know, up there. So, we have mentioned SAIDI. 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 System Average Interruption Duration Index.
Downtime.
Number of tripping, number of customers, and the duration. Okay. System Average Interruption Duration Index. This is the measure. I mean, any country. Interruption Duration Index. You have KAIDI, you have SAIFI, you know, lots more. But SAIDI is the basic. I mean, anywhere you go in the world, you can actually ask. If somebody is from utility and you ask them SAIDI, they don't.
1 minute to go.
Something not right.
Okay, after we have this matrix, what can HR? Yes, I want to.
You are the new moderator.
No, I have very fast.
Tell the floor what metrics should we use or what should we use from an HR context. This is how we see the typical organization take the entire scorecard and then work on everything and then you are still nameless. I think personally this is how I always guide people. Always take 2 baby steps, 2 to 3 metrics. Okay, work on it. Those are your quick wins. Okay, and then followed by the subsequent metrics, and then you put them together. Once you have done that, where you have corrected each of the metrics in baby steps and getting you to the outcome that you want, then you start dealing with people, single people, and breaking that. You find a better way.
Why is customer insight important?
It's about what kind of service you plan to provide.
You're recording.
I know, and I know him very well too.
Actually, censored this part. I changed that question.
Okay, and also how your business is going to move forward, what your customers want, where you need improvement. Right now, what we're doing is still very traditional, which is the staff, the customer service executives are actually getting information, or when we speak to our key customers, we find out their needs, or even when it goes out, so we share it across the board. So that's still very backdated, right? So now in terms of the systems, I mean, I saw so many people presenting and it's really wow. I think what I would essentially like to do is move towards that, because there is a lot of benefit in using those insights to reap your ROI later.
So you see the value.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're currently servicing the express section of DHL. These are parcels and documents. I believe they are using customer insights to drive where they want to go looking forward, right? So, and I think it is, well, obviously very, very important to the company because they're spending. One of the things that they did was to take care of the customs portion of the customer, because I think the customs is a very delicate issue, right? So they are the ones who handle it
for the customer based on the customer requesting for it. Right?
Because they have to request and you say you want us to create a custom, this is the charges.
Correct. And then one of the other things that they did to enhance is the DHL is one of the forwarding companies, I think, that is able to reach more countries than any other forward company. So, like in Libya, even if there is a ban, some way, somehow, DHL is able to deliver to Libya. So, I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
And you call me, I'll tell you how they do it.
Some companies do not really invest in terms of having the right tool. There could be a lot of data that's available or whatever in a sense, but they do not have the right tool to analyze. I mean, the analytical in the sense of writing the right tool to get what does the actual customer insight that they want. That part of it is like, even though there's a need and they really want to move forward, but the tool isn't available or whatever.
So you're saying the tools are not there, but they want something.
Correct. And they want to outsource it. So I feel by you outsourcing the details, all the information that you are getting is whatever.
From your experience, you say raising that. Why are you raising that? Is that something from your side? What in particular you're looking for that the tools are not there?
It's all in silos.
Okay, so it's all each department.
Each department, whatever. So you want to get one single response, you can't do it, whatever, because you don't have that right tool there, the analytical tool, whatever. So what is it that sometimes there's a lot of guessing games that you don't know. And in the example that the sales team, whatever, that they feel, oh, that's the right approach would be. It might not be the thing.
Anyone else? Any points to raise from your side?
Sometimes analytical thinking can also be common sense. Sometimes we tend to overthink things when actually it's right there.
You don't see that.
We have millions and millions and millions of data. It's very simple sometimes. For example, if you call the call center, if you know the customer based on your data, we like to speak in Malay, in English.
Immediately you know. You don't press one
exactly.
bus,
So these are the things that I think while we have it, but it has not been harnessed, it has not been used with the right approach.
3 minutes. Why you think it's an issue? Because let me be honest. Anything you buy today, you must have a business case. A business case drives your business, what to do, how to recover the money. So when it comes to customer insights analysis, I want to spend 10 minutes. Who wants to see everyone in one box? Yeah, great. How are you going to make the money back? Okay, so that's the question I always push to my customers. You want to invest? So do you see you already have a business case in mind that by investing 10 million in 6 months or 6 years, I can recover the money?
I think the problem is whenever you do this business case, it goes to a steering committee.
Yeah, goes to the shareholder.
And sometimes it's right mix, sometimes it's wrong mix.
Correct.
If you send it to a financial controller, that part of the steering com, you will have tough time justifying.
Absolutely.
Because each cost will be questions and ROI will be triple check, or he will send it to his team to check. Insurance.
Same insurance.
So that's our biggest challenge.
Correct.
Depends on who you manage.
You're driven by money.
Yes. Sometimes you cancel this project and you redo it again, you get it approved easier because you have different steering.
How do you help them to justify the business case?
Basically, actually, it's to tie
1 minute to go.
to the metrics of the ROI.
Okay.
Yeah. How is the business? What kind of business result will be impacted? You know.
By not having it.
Yeah, by not having it. I think user needs a lot of actually all this proof or facts to substantiate.
Okay.
So I think the tools will come in very handy to actually gather all the facts.
It's a bit of a chicken and egg. You have the tool, then you can do it.
The challenge is steering com usually has a different person from operation to
Which insurance is this? You tell me I come from
Allianz. So you
Allianz.
have
Only someone from Allianz just now, so yeah.
it's actually very diverse. Every one of them look at a different thing.
If anyone older than 45 must not sit in the steering committee.
True.
We're going to do some lucky draws and some activities for you to win these wonderful Apple products. Some of them are in form of questions, some of them need you to come up and engage with me and give me a fantastic customer experience. No touching. So ladies and really, do you have my number? Ladies and gentlemen, Would you please join me in a nice warm round of applause and bring on the Vice President of CCAM, T. Manjula. She's better known as Manju. I am looking for two persons, the fastest two persons, to come up front, run towards Manju, run towards Manju, okay? Run towards Manju. Two person, fastest in the room, run up to Manju, okay? And give her gatalnya. Two persons, fastest in the ballroom, to run to Manju, okay? And give her two topics from Meeting of Minds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay. Okay. Oi, apa ni? Are you accepting this, Manju? I don't know. You be the judge of this. Yes? Okay, table 1. And you are from table? Jose? Table 3, let's give them a nice warm round of applause. Remain up front, we're going to present you with the prizes. The headphones, okay, I thought they were bigger. No, the visual on what I've been given is really big, so I thought gigantic headphones, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say thank you to Manju, Vice President CCAM. Mr. Dennis Tan, your presence is requested. Ah, okay. Fellow Blacker boy. I found out he was in the same school I was. Different year. I'm never getting hired again. Okay. Mr. Dennis. Here's a challenge. I'm going to move away from you. Okay? We're looking for one winner. Okay? Fastest person to run to you, to talk about what they have learned in the last 2 days in 90 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, okay. I'm going to pass her the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, you be the judge of her answer, okay?
Hi everyone, my name is Carmen. I'm from PwC, previously from Celcom Axiata. I think what I've really learned from the floor is the importance of actually putting customer at the forefront of what we want to do in customer experience. We talk a lot about customer experience, but when we went through all the table topics, we realized what we talked about mostly is how companies profit from making digitalization as an enabler. So really that shift of mindsets. Where am I? Okay, and so I think that's the very important thing. And apart from that, omni-channel was something that really struck me because there's omni-channel these days, but there's always fragmented perspective on it. Customers view a company as a whole, but actually we behave like different parts of it. So how do we then integrate it, I think would be my takeaway as well. So yeah, thank you.
So did she win? Yes, okay. Congratulations. A Harman Kardon speaker. I'm so focused on the Apple products, I tell you. We are going to be presenting two of these prizes to two participants who've joined us from yesterday. Now essentially, iPad mini is going to be presented to the person that was apparently most active on Slido. Okay? My apologies, iPad mini 4 is slightly less expensive. So we're going to give the watch to Slido, okay? So the Apple Watch is the one for Slido, okay? And then the iPad mini 4 is going to be given out to the person who was apparently the most interactive, most active during meeting of minds. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the recipient of the Apple Watch. We have begun to recognize the millennials, or the Gen Y, Gen X, the Gen after me, the Super Gens, as our equals. And today we will reward them as how we would reward ourselves. So we found someone who has proved that his questions on Slido will make us rethink about everything we do in customer experience. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to draw your attention to the screen because he has asked us questions like this. It all starts internally. Should companies focus more on internal relationship marketing before looking at providing customers the best CX, customer experience? With internet getting cheaper, customers are getting more educated. Would a company like Google make every customer service line obsolete in the near future because everything can be found online? Ladies and gentlemen, the recipient for the Apple Watch, would you please join me in welcome, Mukris Taufik. I'm going to get you to stand here for a little bit, Mukris. Now, most interactive, or rather most active, during meeting of minds. Ladies and gentlemen, this one was a situation where I think he was voted in, correct? Yeah. So 2 names were given from each table, and then we had a discussion, and a vote was cast by the students, I've been made to understand, together with a committee. The winner, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Elgo. Olga, my apologies. I didn't even drink. Olga, my apologies. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Ms. Yvonne from ANBIS to come forward and present the iPad mini to Olga, Apple Watch to Mukris. Congratulations, Olga. It was given to me as ALGO, so. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what do I do now? I pass the floor back to a certain Mr. Andy. Do I do that? Vic? Mr. Andy Crenshaw, I believe you're going to make the table moderators work their worth.
Okay, so thank you all for your inputs during the meetings of Mind. You will have noticed that there were people writing down everything that went on at the table. And during the break, the table moderators have been summarising away so that they can get up and do a quick presentation on what went on at their table. So table moderators, there are a couple of people who've got to get on planes, so I'm going to get them to come and do theirs first, and then I'll kind of go round in the order of the tables. But Jean-Marc Provost, can you come up and give us your 4-minute summary? I've been told 4 minutes.
Can I nominate my 2 people? Best people I had on table. So 2 ones. So one table topic was digital customer experience. What's next? And on the table we had Mr. Kovind from TNB, and TNB is the main Malaysian power company. Say I control the power, and therefore I control digital as well. So I love that very much. And without power, no digital technology, so forget about what's next. A second person I'd like to name is Lolita from Uber. we've got a lot of conversations around how difficult it is to embrace chat or social media. So it's a different way of dialoguing or talking to customers. And for it's simple. It's difficult, but you need specific techniques, some specific trainings. For the first example she said is, you give 1 day of typing for people that handle chat. So the first thing, they need to type fast, right? They need to answer fast, they need to provide short answers, and they also need to understand how to interact with a conversation, that they can be on a different conversation at the same time, and they do 5 conversations at a time, right? So digital can be complex, and it shouldn't be treated or handled the same way as we handle calls. That's clear, and there are specific techniques. So I'd like to hire you, Lolita, for a couple of customers to be a training or a leader. So thank you for that. Okay, summary of the discussion, very great conversation, and back to the initial comments that Malaysian people are always late. I understand why, because they talk a lot, and that's great feedback in the presentation. In terms of what's next in digital, something came up is, we have some companies that are digital natives. We have Agoda on the table, Uber, really digital natives. So for them, the next thing could be the IoT, could be the virtual assistants or artificial intelligence. And for many other companies, the what's next is to catch up. That's not ambitious, it's not the wow thing, but to catch up. And I had a very nice comment, is digital customer experience should become the norm, right? If you reach that, that's a very good achievement. And there's no way back. Digital is here to stay for a long time. Another comment we had quite a lot of times is more can be less. More channels can bring a lesser customer experience, because the processes are not aligned. You cannot offer social media, chat, instant messaging services, and if your processes don't allow your agents to reply or to provide an answer through those channels, it doesn't work. Okay? So the processes needs to be aligned accordingly. Another thing was, a number of you, I was surprised, happily surprised, is the take-up of chat. See some companies raising, I think chat increasing volume by 40% in a very short time period. Other companies where chat has increased so much that they have more chat interaction, live chat interaction than calls. So it is possible. For some companies, it's not the case yet. There's already in this room a number of companies that have reached that phase. A lot of discussion and ambiguity around digital customer experience. For a lot of you, digital customer experience is about self-service. It's about websites. It's about apps where customers can do everything themselves. Okay, and a lot of you also brought the fact that human should be brought into this dimension. We should offer more human support in those interactions, else you're losing completely your interaction and your relationship with your customers. Digital customer experience brings a lot of more interaction, so be prepared for that, which is a good thing, right? The more you talk to customers, the more you can sell, the more you can bring or increase loyalty with them. So don't be scared. It's the whole investment relationship about, okay, well, you get more digital interaction, you get less call, may not be true, right? But from a profit point of view, that's good. Last one. The very last one, sorry about that. And the last one I want to say is there's a big gap currently between empowering customers, and a lot of companies know how to empower customers with digital channels, but about empowering employees, it's another ballgame. It's not there yet. So, and one goes with the other. If it's not the case, it doesn't work either. So please work on it. Thank you, and I'll be pleased.
Thank you very much.
There was lots of talk about where people are at in their customer journey mapping, and I think it was probably about 50-50 in the end that people have mapped the customer journey and understand their behaviours, and people that are in the process of doing that. Much talk about the CEO buy-in and the fact that to have a true kind of cross-organisation interaction and understanding of the customer requires buy-in from the top and the leadership to engage and really drive that collaboration across the organisation. And some people have more positive experiences in that case than others. So then we talked about, on some tables we talked about experimenting with building business plans and coaching and training the CEO as to why customer centricity is important and the kind of ways that you could go about that. So lots of things shared there. And then the other thing was some of the innovative ideas then that people talked to was human-centered design. One company, sorry, I didn't take note, it was too fast to take note of all the amazing people that came past, but one person talked about human-centered design training across the entire organisation. So they spent 2 years training everyone in human-centered design, which I think is fantastic. We talked about, I think it was Maxis, talked about the 6 journeys that they've mapped out. I explore, I pay, I review, I leave, and I didn't catch the other 2, but the I leave is obviously the one that you don't want to happen with the customers. So that was one point around really honing in on the different types of journeys and maybe focusing on the ones that generate you the most revenue and getting them right as a starting point if you're not sure where to start. Building a backup plan to cater for the talent turnover and the training gaps. So one of the teams, I think, yeah, where are you from again? Talked about the university, so they actually have a backup call centre at a university. So I thought that was really innovative in terms of how you make sure that you don't have those gaps in service by having an ongoing training centre. Oh, is this too staticky? Sorry, okay. Is that better? Strategy 2020, there's 3 bottom lines, so there's a triangle in the organisation between employees, customers and investors, and really thinking about the triple bottom lines. And I think it was Banu in the original first team talked about post-it notes in the middle of the contact centre, ideas constantly being posted, a workshop and roadshow and weekly training to drive cadence within the organisation. So constant reiterating success as well as analysing problems and crowdsourcing solutions, I guess, so that you can consistently have people engaged in this process. So there wasn't a lot of gamification per se, but there was a lot of talk about constant communication and collaboration to really keep this going and thinking about the customer and changing and driving change. So I think that was the main summary. So thank you all for your participation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much, Wendy.
My topic was basically driving analytical thinking and using customer insights to define the business approach. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a couple of case studies and something new or interesting that with regard to customer insights, and then I'll give you my point of view. The 2 case studies, the first one was due to customer insights, Citibank came out with something called voice biometric. So basically, you call the call center, and before you know it, they already know who you are. And straight away, you can do whatever you want to do over the call. They will not ask your name, they will not ask for your IC number. I thought that was excellent. Based on their findings from the customer insights, most of the complaints were going on the IVR, telling your name, your birthday, your IC number, so they implemented voice biometric. So I'm really excited to look into it. I'm a Citibank user, I'm going to test it out. Okay. Second was the Uber. I thought was very interesting because they use customer insight extensively. What I realized is all the new players in the digital industry, Uber and Google, they truly understand what's customer insight and they use it in real time. I come from the days of Maxis and Binarian. Now we use customer insight, but we really don't use it in real time. We use it for the sake of saying we use it. Okay? So I'll go back to Uber again. Now, in Uber, the customer insight, they found example in Thailand, the jam is terrible. So most of the customers were wishing that they could have a USB charger in the car so they can charge their phones. So what Uber did was they created a point system to all the drivers. If you have a USB charger, for your passengers to earn more points. I thought that was excellent. And they did that in real time. They solved the issue in real time. So the two case studies. The new stuff in customer insight is speech analytics. Something new. Speech analytics is where you call a call center. Before the agent even is on the way while talking to you, the system will know whether you're angry, upset, or sad, you are happy, and will be able to guide the call center agent or the CSR. I think that's very powerful. So that with that comes to the key point, customer insight. So I'm a solution provider. I come from a service industry, I moved to a solution provider. Now, most important thing is, when we were talking to most of the groups, they want all these super duper customer insights, but they have challenges justifying the business case to their management team. All right, you come here, you have this event, wow, customer insight, super, excellent. Go back to the management, someone in the, I don't want to say which insurance company, but my CFO has to sign off. He's asking 10,000 questions, so it doesn't happen. All right, so this is where, I mean, I'm totally for customer insight, but at the same point, we all run a business. All right. The most important thing is when you want to establish a customer insight, make sure you develop or build a business case. If you're going to invest in a solution or tool, because any tool, you say, I'm being upfront. You can go to any technology provider, it's the same tool, but you need to justify the business case. Because the tool helps you build the customer experience. So having a business case is very, very critical. Then comes this thing about people, process, and technology. I think some of us heard that you put the technology in there, doesn't mean it's going to work. You need to look at the process. You need to look at the people. And we have new generations coming on board. Kelvin, come here. Why don't you be here just now? Come. So Kelvin, the one did the script. So when I'm talking to this guy, all right, he's a Sunway student. He's doing his marketing. He's almost finishing his degree. Now he has a very different perspective of marketing and customer insight. Now, we as shareholders, leaders in our organization, we need to be able to adapt to the new leaders that are coming on board, to understand the customer insights. So my ask to all of you all, ask yourself first, what do you want to do? And why do you want customer insight? Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Pete.
Very good session. I must say I want to share some stats that we actually gathered from all the 10 groups. But I must say that because we didn't get to talk to everyone in all the groups, and the reason is because of the limited time that we have. But nevertheless, from what we actually gathered from the discussion with the team, all the participants, when we say applying the right metrics to measure customer experience, 79% of us actually agree that it would be NPS. Whether it's a top-down, bottom-up, we agree that NPS would be the one that we should look at. Some companies did say, 47% of it say CSAT, and CES, Customer Effort Score, or Easy Score, it's something that companies are embracing or going to embrace into customer experience, Customer Effort Score, because it's how easy is it to do business with the organization, and 26% actually say first contact resolution, because complaints are the way to go. We want to make sure that how quickly can we resolve the customer's issue at the point of contact. So some of the verbatims that we gather is improving customer experience a priority in your company? And I think we got a resounding yes. Everyone say that it is important, a priority. We agree that some of the metrics measured are not aligned, because internally the score may look so good, but external score is so poor. So what is the right metrics to measure? So those are the conversations that we had. We spoke about if the employees are happy, they will ensure that the customers are happy. So interestingly, we also heard of a company that actually measure key happiness index, just like Bhutan. Love that. Thought that was very, very interesting. We also spoke about measuring the right index, like for example, for Tenaga, we measure SIDI, which is System Average Interaction Duration Index. It's almost like the uptime or the downtime, which is 60 minutes in a year. So which we thought that really is something that is relevant to the organization. Thought this is also something I echo. Uber actually measures DSAT, less complaints leads to better CX. And we always measure CSAT, but Uber looks at it at DSAT, which is so interesting because when we look at the dissatisfied customers, the satisfaction score, and what actions can we do immediately, and I thought that was really, really good. Thank you for sharing. And an organization actually said that we like to measure all metrics because it gives us a holistic view of customer experience. Is that the way to go, or should we just focus on certain metrics that could actually help us to drive the results? Ultimately, in all that we shared, we say that applying the measure alone isn't useful because it's just data. We agree that we've got heaps of data in the contact center unless we use it to drive and optimize customer experience. So finally, we agree that it is to measure, to collect, to analyze, and put actions to it ultimately. Knowing what actions to do with the data that we have could actually help us to improve customer experience. That's all we got. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So my table question was, is talent management even a consideration in your CX strategy? Really like that. So what I'm going to do today, I'll explain to you how we defined it first, and then what we did was a simple roundup of how really it's important for everyone, and then some samples. So how we defined it was, talent management is basically how we attract, develop, engage, and retain. So whether companies use these 4 quadrants in their CX strategy. So we asked around most tables whether it was important for your company. Everyone gave a rounding yes, 10 out of 10, it is very important. Or when we asked them how practical, whether companies are doing it, nearly everyone gave it 2. It's kind of scary, isn't it? So most of the reasons we asked them why is because they're usually based on ROIs, metrics, P&Ls. As much as they would like to have it, it's not on their top priority list. So some samples of examples of companies which are doing quite well. We have Citibank, for example. An idea came out was, for every new hires, for certain levels, they stay 1 month on the floor answering calls. Even the executive levels, for 3 days, they listen to calls. That gives them closer engagement to customers. Maxis, what they do is, from what I heard here, as they're moving very much towards the digital, their hirings are also very digital. So they get the right people from the onset. So it's aligned towards your CX strategies. Sutherland, for example, they have a 1-month TMU, talent management universities, which aligns the staffs towards their CX strategies. We've got the one which really blew me off was from CDEA, from the employee engagement. They have a 12-month induction employee engagement survey for any new hires. It's a project they're doing currently, so I'm not sure how the outcome will be, but can you imagine a 12-month induction? Those are examples that we got from some great companies here. So I throw another question. What if money and cost was not a concern? How would you change it? What would you do different? So there are two good examples. One was, someone said, they will pick some from a similar industry and send, but in a different country, and give their staff different exposures. So literally sending your staff to a different country in a similar industry. So then they get exposure to different CX there. The other one was literally hire staff to literally walk the floor, proactively engage with customers to feel what the customer is talking about. So if I could sum it up, your CX is a direct result of the attitude and behavior of your talent. Your talent, CX is your EX. That's my point of view. Thank you.
Our topic is actually related to social media, and we really got a lot of very, very good inputs from all of you. I have 4 pages here, but I'm just going to put all the important points that we got, the best practices and what are the challenges ahead, and what we can draw is you are not alone.
a lot of you faces a lot of similar challenges within the industry. Now, what works here? We noticed that it works in a lot of emergency-related situation. In the case of TNB and in the case of Plus, it worked very, very well in terms of social media. It's also a very good tool for market sensing to derive data from the customer and what they're doing, like what Vix mentioned earlier. It's also deriving what they are trying to tell us about. Personalization. We have a case that I think Max has shared this case where the customers are able to talk to, the agents are able to talk to the customers using their lingos, using their language. So customer feel personalization here. It's also staff empowerment, where staff are able to talk to the customer without needing to go through channels and channels of approval. It is also a very important internal tool. We have cases where DHL use Yammer to solve their internal problems and getting their staff to solve internal problems. There's a very interesting element of co-creation where companies can actually get their customers to market their products for them for free. We have a case of Ambank where we have a celebrity posting something good about it and it got viral because of that. And I like the case, and we all like the case of the keyboard warrior that is being brought up by, I'm sorry, I forgot the case. TNB? TNB. I think it's TNB also. So I'm so sorry, I forgot the company name. It's TNB, yeah? They identify keyboard warriors to help them solve issues, and keyboard warriors are the customers who are speaking it out. And but then again, we got into the similar issue where I told you a lot of companies felt that they're not alone, because social media is at the same time a double-edged sword. A lot of you agree on that, because you need to respond 24/7, because a lot of companies are very, very about negative issues that can blow up instantaneously. Getting the right people is a challenging task, because these guys need to know how to respond. It is not just responding, saying thank you very much, we appreciate your feedback. There is a need of human and emotional element in the response. Similarly, a lot of the companies told us that social media becomes a nuisance because people use it as a complaint board. They want to capture attention, they just complain. Having the right control mechanism is very important, which a lot of companies are trying to source for the control mechanism. What's the best response for X type of situation, not just scripting type of situation. And then leads us to one of the very important solutions that some of the companies have pointed out. It all boils down to company objective. Why do you embrace social media in the first place? Is it because you're jumping into bandwagons? Is it because other people are doing it? No, I have to do it. It's not just that. It's what is the objective? Do you want to use it as a promotional channel? Do you want to use it as an acquisition channel? Or do you want it to be a service channel? Because to customers, to user, it becomes a complaint channel. So you need to have a proper mechanism for it. Moving on, future plans. From our discussion, a lot of companies are looking, they desire a proper tool that they can use to monitor mechanisms, monitor discussion. They want analytics. They also want performance tracking. At the same time, they want productivity, efficiency to be traced, as well as channel integration. So these are what the vendors should be looking at in the future. I have, if I can take 30 minutes to allow a Gen Y to tell you what they want to do. Sorry, 30 seconds. This is T. T is a Gen Y user who would like to share with you what they really want from social media.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the amount of information that you've provided me for these past 2 days. As an aspiring marketer, I really thank you for giving me such relevant and useful information. So I think in return, it's only fair that I share some with you. As a Gen Y myself, when I enter a social media page and I look at a corporate page or a brand page, I ask myself, are you a person? Are you a page? Or are you my friend? And this highlights the point that I'm trying to make today, which revolves around social media language. As a person who constantly goes on the social media 24/7, this is what I've realized, is that brands, they make posts, they offer content to attract users, whether it's for reach, whether it's for conversion, that's besides the point. The point is that we as millennials go online onto social media to have fun. We want to interact, to make that emotional connection. We're there to make friends. And if we can perceive that brands are our friends, then that emotional connection is not there. Simple use of emojis or just relevant meta tags or like hashtags, it might work at first, but eventually it's not going to work for a long run. The simple use of formal perfect grammar may be politically correct, but it lacks the emotional touch that we seek for. I'll give you an example of this YouTuber. His name is John Hill. No, he doesn't use perfect grammar. Yes, I will admit, he at times advertises his brand. But what makes me, at 12 o'clock in the morning, goes to his channel to see if he uploads videos, is his ability to make me believe that he's my friend. The content that he posts makes me feel genuine, that he really cares about me. And that, as a millennial, is what we seek. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica and T.
Okay, first of all, I want to acknowledge Wan Chi, the scriber. Can you please give her a round of applause? But Wan Chi, like table 2, how come I don't have slides? Okay, now for some of the groups that came over to my table, the topic is brand at work and how do you incorporate your brand values or brand promise into the touch point. And to that, I asked some of the groups, I may not have asked all of the groups, but for some of the group I asked, how much, looking into your organization, how much do you think that you are doing this for your organization? 0 being really, really poor, and 10 is, my organization is already up there. Some organization, they say they are already 11. Action, huh? Never mind, we look and see, all right? But for some organization, all right, there was one in particular, rated the organization as 2, right? That's quite surprising, okay? But on average, it's about between 4 to about 4.5. So there's still a lot of gaps, because when I say in all touch points have to be consistent in delivering to your promise, and the answer that I got back is this look of all lah. Right? For some, there are pockets whereby the brand promise is delivered really, really excellent. All right, so it goes right up to 7 to 8. Okay, 10 and 11 for some, but for some, right, there are still pockets that we can do more of. Okay, now some companies that are doing really, really well. Let's listen to 2. I've got 2 examples here. The message is really, really clear and simple. I think it was EPF, KWSP, that says everyone needs to deliver this word happy. Whether you are delivering this service to your external customers. Oh, LHDN, I'm so sorry. Okay. My tax bracket higher. Okay. Whether you are delivering it to your external customers or to your internal customers, all right, you deliver happiness to your customers. One organization is using one single platform for all types of communication. Okay, and that makes it simple. All stuff, no matter who you are, you can be the cleaner. The organization is using that one single platform to communicate all types of messaging. Now, when we look at the gaps, you have a gap of between 6 to 6.5 here to fill, And what most of you feel that we can do more of is we need to make things simpler. The message needs to be simple. The 27 values needs to be cut down to 30 at most, right? The way we deliver we need to simplify this for our frontline customer. We need to be supporting our frontline customer to be delivering. The frontline people need to understand what are the behaviors that I need to deliver to my customers. So make it simpler. Another message is we need to engage all employees. Doesn't matter whether you are the CEO, all right, or you are the cleaner, everyone needs to be engaged. There's this saying, employee comes first. I think this is quite vital. If we want our employees to think customer first, right, then we as an organization, we as leaders need to think of our employees first in everything that we do. The other thing that I heard a lot of you say is on hiring the right talent. Recruiting people to deliver the right experience. Having middle managers as ambassadors. Okay. Now, the last thing is, what is this one wild idea that you have? I think some of you say, okay, this, nothing big, all right? This one wild idea is for leaders to model the way, walk the talk, and for senior management to wake up and know that lip service does not work anymore. And that message is for all of us here, including me in this room. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Asmin. Okay.
Well, we are in table 8 and we got a very confusing title. It says, are we utilizing technology to create customer experience, or are we merely leveraging on technologies to create customer experience? So immediately everybody was thinking, no, we are merely leveraging technologies to create customer experience. Until the time when the first few discussions, everybody said, yeah, you know, we're just a mere follower, we're just enhancing customer experience, until we change or redefine what is customer experience, right? So like Steve says, you know, Steve Jobs, not Steve my friend, right? You got to start with customer experience, and work backwards towards the technologies. So that's one part of the definition. The other part of the definition, what is customer experience? Is it merely the touch points? Like most of us, since it's contact center, everybody assumes that it's touch point. But when we redefine it, it includes products, services that you use, and all of a sudden says, some of them say, oh, we use technologies to create customer experience. Tenaga Nasional, for example, what is it? Is customer experience merely touch points? What happens if you don't have an outage? Apa akan jadi? Semua akan complain kan? Tak ada electricity. What about telcos? What constitutes customer experience? Is it the touch points? Is it the customer service? When you call them, they say, oh, Mr. Wong, your bill is such and such. Mr. Wong, we will waive your bill because you have a complaint. Or cut centers. You know, I like to call cut centers. They always charge me bills, you know, make a complaint. We will waive this, Mr. Wong. Is it just that? But if you look at Maxis, part of the service, part of the experience is actually the network itself. Now, isn't that technology? So, is Maxis, Uber, Webi, we have Webi, Telekom Malaysia, none of them here today. They are actually using technologies to create customer experience. So then we move on. So which organization a case was given? Uber. Everybody talks about how great, you know, they have in creating customer experience. But if you look at Uber itself, it is a technology to create customer experience. Before Uber, try to hail a taxi in Malaysia. I don't know about any other countries. I know maybe Thailand. bank out. It's almost impossible. They haggle with you. With Uber, it's a whole new experience that we are actually living in right now. And the disruption of these technologies that comes into place today is actually help us to create customer experience. So we look into now, move into the traditional one. Some of the examples, like when we redefine this, M-Bank, for example, is using QSR, so they can capture all your data, all your information. So the next time you contact M-Bank, they just flash your QSR. They will know all the information about you so that they can actually provide better services to you. I'm just trying to get a few examples over here. Plus Highway, for example. Everybody, we all use Plus Highway, don't we all? So, what kind of services does Plus give you, young man? They give you routes, right? Routes to use, ada jalan guna kan, bayar je guna, right? So what kind of customer experience can they create? Rest stops, cleaner rest stops, make sure there's no potholes, all that. That itself is an experience, right? So they have the ability to create better experience using technology. So what they do is they give you, kan, ada example yang given, bagilah tweeters, you can tweet. So cepat ni, aku belum habis lagi. So anyway, in short, right? There is a various mix. Some, at the end of the day, companies agree that yes, they are using technologies to create customer experiences, but 50-50, some organization more so than the other. Thank you very much. I didn't know that as
Thanks very much, Jeff.
Omni-channel, it's a widely spoken word. Is it understood? Is it well known? How are we using it? And are we actually in the right path to actually getting and achieving what we want to do? So we started off our topics, most of our topics. It was very interesting the way the entire discussion went about defining omnichannel. I think where it all starts is in terms of omnichannel is the multi-channel path. I think today we understand multi-channel really well, but what we actually want to see is how it integrates seamlessly. I think that's where something where omnichannel comes in and is better, or the next step towards omnichannel. Also in terms of continuity and simplicity, I think those are the two key words which actually came through. Today, if you look at most of the multi-channel systems, they are disparate, they are difficult to manage in terms of the organization, as well as difficult for customers to actually reach out to the organization. Let's say they have an email that they send, and then they have to call up and then say, can you please reiterate what your problem is? I think that's the major challenge that we face in a multi-channel environment as compared to what an omni-channel environment is, where it actually provides the simplicity that is required. And also availability of services. I think one very important point one gentleman from AmBank had raised in saying that if you call up an airline today and have something, you want to book a ticket via call center agent, he will say, please go to the website and you can refer to the website and go there. There is no agent actually, if it's a multi-channel scenario, there's no agent actually going and telling you, hey, please tell me what you want, and I will key in the things into the website and I'll actually give you the details that you need. So that's the power of omnichannel, to provide the seamless experience or the seamless information across the channels. We looked at what the challenges in omnichannel are. I think we kind of came to a consensus, almost every table came to a consensus that some of the other way, omnichannel is the path. If you have to get to the level of digital customer experience, omnichannel would be required. But what are the challenges that you're facing in terms of omnichannel? The one single point that came out almost 5 out of 10 tables was cost. I think from every table, I think one or the other participant had the concern that there will be a certain amount of cost involved to integrate all the systems. We're talking about legacy systems which have different channels. So we started off with call centers back in the 90s. we went into email and chat. Today we're talking about social media. There are a lot of companies who are using IVR systems which were installed, let's say, in the early 2000s. So how do you bring all those systems together, and that's going to involve a lot of cost, is one of the challenges that was seen. Integrated platforms are expensive. I think my friends from Genesis or myself from Saujana may not agree with that, but I think that's something which came out as a thought process, saying that integrated systems today are expensive. And also the fact that back-end systems where all the data gets collated are not integrated with the front-end systems. So that's something, again, which involves a lot of cost. From an organization structure point of view as well, when you talk about omnichannel, what you implement is one factor, but how you implement it is also becomes a factor. Are we talking the same language? Is an email agent able to understand this problem of the customer the way a voice agent is able to, and is able to give the kind of response it's like similar to what a social media agent would do. So that kind of seamless experience in terms of what agents are conveying is also something which is looked at. So in terms of training and on the new systems. Okay, I think I went too slow on that. Okay, I think the wrap-up points in terms of solution is on how you look at ROIs, how you understand the brand promise before embarking on the omnichannel, and mid-management. I think from a organization structure point of view, management of employees and putting the thought process together of training the people in the right way is another way. And again, from a customized omnichannel strategy, I think one thought I will leave you to is omnichannel. Yes, it is the end goal, but no single strategy will work for every industry. Every industry will have to design their own omnichannel strategy, and that's the way to go about it. Is what was the thought process. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed, Tia.
Say, you Malaysians can really talk. Because you have like 4 minutes, it was like 40 minutes everyone, but like since I'm from Hong Kong, I'm going to give you just 2 minutes of my time. So my topic at the table is where you're shifting your investment to, given we're in this very experience-centric economy, as well as how do you measure that investment from an ROI perspective. Not surprised, I think definitely technology is one area that you really put a lot of investment in. So the whole digital experience that you have to build. I've heard previous moderator talk about a lot of you are playing catch up. It's actually quite true. You're building your website, you're actually creating self-service, and you're creating a mobile experience, you're creating a lot of mobile apps, and you're trying to actually create a platform also for your agent to be more productive, to integrate the different aspects of the data and the applications that they have to use to be able to serve the customers and to create a good experience. Out of that, I think there's one thing that I really like. I'm sorry, I forgot who's that. It's about enriching customer life. I think that's a very good way of putting technology into use, right? So we're not saying that obviously, we're all corporations, we're trying to make money, we're trying to actually justify, the investment. But I think a good way to put it is actually how you want to enrich your customer's life. And the example that he's given me was that when you call call center, I think it's Maxis, I'm not sure, but I think when you call the call center, at the end of it, they're going to ask you, have you tried Grab? Grab, the taxi ordering thing. So they're like, it's really good, it's very useful. It helps you, you don't have to stand on the street to, hail the taxi, and then you can order the taxi. And you're thinking, why? Why Maxis is telling me about Grab? Do you know why? The data, right? So I think in a way, this is how we can approach it, right? So not just to say that, we're using technology to actually benefit ourselves, but in another way, you can also use technology to benefit yourself as well as your customer in an indirect and kind of nice way. So I think that's a very good highlight that I during the conversation. And then another conversation that I have with, I think, this insurance company, I think Allianz. So we talk about a lot, how we create a new channel, like the new digital experience and the millennials, right? So what he was talking about is like, for me, I'm from insurance company. Actually, we service people from 0 to 100, like age 0 to age 100, right? Actually, it's quite true, because when we're talking about this experience thing, right, we got very caught up in terms of what's future. But that's you, right? But we forgot about, actually there's a lot of customers still that we have to service. There are different preferences. Say for example, there's like a lot of maybe middle-aged rich people. They still like to do face-to-face. They still want to meet you. They still want to personalize experience. So I think some of the investment maybe inappropriately shifted too much to technology and forgetting about there's other, like, there's existing customer and existing generation of people that we have to service as well. So I think from looking at the investment, we have to take a balanced approach, not to say that, we're totally biased towards one area, but forgetting about our, other customer base. And I think, that's another thing that I learned as well, because coming from a very technical kind of background, all I think about is the future, but I really, we have to think about our existing customer base and how to really balance our investment as well. And another category of investment that people want to make is actually really people, right? So I think we heard a lot about talent management and how happy employee will lead to happy customer. I think that's very true. For me, as an employee of a company that sends me everywhere in the world, the reason why I actually work for this company is really because I feel very empowered. As an employee, I have a lot of choice. I can't believe I fell. I'm from Hong Kong. So anyways, so I think all in all, it's just about like really, you have to take care of the feelings of the people, because the quote that I get was that you really want to create excitement, in your workforce. It's not just about money or anything. It's not about what you can bring home at the end of the day. It's really the emotional side of excitement. Because if you feel excited about something that you do every day, you put in a lot of effort. You do much more than what you normally do in your job. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patsy. I've got 5 pages of notes, and now I've got to summarise them. I think there's a couple of things that came out for me listening to those and also going around and listening to the tables. I think the first one was the difference between, I suppose, what I'd call new wave companies and old wave companies. And that came out all around the sort of discussions. So there were some comments there in the summaries. One which was about how those new companies, the Ubers, the Lazadas, they really understand how to use customer insight, and they action customer insight. Okay, we heard that. But going round, what I heard a lot of from the kind of old wave companies is it's really hard in our organisation to get anyone to listen when we talk about customer insight. It's hard to get budget for it. It's hard to convince the CFO that this is something that's worth paying for. It's hard to make changes to our organisation based on customer insight. So that's to me, that's a real big divide between sort of new wave companies and old wave companies, is the way that they look at customer insight. And you wonder, a lot of people talked about lip service. Everyone's got the surveys, everyone's collecting the information, everyone's going out and asking their customers. I was really surprised actually the number of people who said they use NPS. So everyone's out there and they're looking for insights from their customers. But I found it really interesting to hear those discussions on how hard it is sometimes to actually get those insights really used within our organisations to drive changes in the way that we do business. And yeah, there were some examples that people gave, and some really good ones that I heard, but a lot of people saying it's just really hard to do that. So I thought that was one of the sort of big themes that I saw. The other one was this question of what is customer experience. And customer experience is not customer service. It's the whole experience of customers with our organisations. And of course, a lot of us here are focused on customer experience in terms of customer service because it's been our lives. You know, it's what we've worked in and it's what we know. And one of the things again that came up, you know, table after table after table, was this question of collaboration within organisations. So if you really want to drive an improved customer experience in an organisation, it's not just about doing it in the touch points. Okay, it's about doing it across the entire organisation, and that requires collaboration across the entire organisation. It requires the kind of the breaking down of those organisational silos and becoming an organisation that really does everything in a way that is focused on driving the customer experience. If you believe at the top of your organisations that is really something that's important. A couple of weeks ago, I was at the CCAS conference in Singapore, and after my presentation, somebody asked me a question from the audience, and the question was, why is it that, you know, when we spend so long talking about customer experience that we're not very good at it? And so I gave an answer, and when I came and sat down, one of the other speakers, and I won't tell you who it was, leaned over and said to me, "Do you know what I wish you'd said when they asked you that question?" And I said, no, what do you wish I'd said? He said, "I wish you'd said that the reason we're so bad at it is because most CEOs just don't care." That's what he said. And I'm sure it's not that CEOs just don't care, but running organisations, changing the way that we do things is hard, and collaboration is hard. I thought the point about simplification was really interesting, because the omni-channel, as you know, that came up in several conversations, omni-channel is a very complex environment. So how do you simplify in an environment which is increasingly more and more complex? More and more channels, more and more ways of doing things, more and more problems with integrating that whole thing. How do you make it simple for people anymore? You think you're making it simple by offering them another channel and another channel and another channel and another channel, but actually in a lot of ways you're just making it more complicated. And again, what I thought was interesting about that is people talking about the amount of investment you have to make in technology, okay, in your omni-channel technology. And one of the interesting things, and maybe this is you know, something that those people in the new wave companies, you know, will talk to some of the people in the old wave companies about. But what I see in the new wave companies is that they're investing their money on their core platform. They're not investing their money in omni-channel technology. They're investing their money on the core platform, and they're trying to work out ways of servicing people and using the core platform as their means of doing that. And that's something that goes back to, you know, to Amazon, you know, when they launched, and their kind of idea that the best customer service is no customer service. And what they meant by that is any problem that somebody calls them about, they would like to be able to resolve that problem through the core platform, not by having somebody answer a phone call. And so those new organisations, they're not spending their budget on omni-channel technology. They're spending their budget on developing the core platform and using that as the means of offering everything to customers, not just service, but the product. You know, the platform is the organisation, I suppose. That's kind of what I mean by that. I thought the conversation about social media was really interesting as well, because all of the conversations that I heard around social media were largely about the problems of social media. So I kept hearing, how do we control social media? How do we deal with all the complaints we get about on social media? How do we stop these things going viral? And I heard very little about, you know, what, if you think about it, has been the driving force of the development of social media, which I thought T, you know, nailed absolutely, which is it's there as a means of building communities. That's why people use social media. People don't wake up in the morning thinking I'm going to use Facebook to complain about my bank. That's not how they feel. They think about using Facebook as a means of becoming part of a wider community. And so as organisations, if our whole mindset is around how do we control it, how do we stop the complaints coming in on it, how do we stop it going viral, you know, that's actually not what social media is about at all. Social media is about building communities. And maybe we should be focusing more on that than you know, how we control things on social media. Is there anything else? Oh. No, I think that's just about everything actually. I think I've kind of, all of my notes I've covered. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant session, I must admit. You know, I thought people kept up the energy, you went around the tables, you kept up the conversations, and actually the conversations, and I listened into a lot of them on various tables, the conversations were brilliant. So I think, thank you all very much for that. I think it's a really exciting insight into where we are in terms of customer experience in Malaysia, and I'd like you all to give yourselves a huge round of
A round of applause for your moderators. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Andy Crenshaw should do the last draw, isn't it? iPhone 7. Okay, here we go. Apple iPhone 7, here we go. Look up. Give the ball a stir. This is crucial. We've capped them till 6:05. Can you beat that? 3 times. Citibank, ada tak? Ada tak? Ada? Oh my gosh. Anuradha Nair. Okay, don't run. Ada lagi iPhone 1 je lah. Andy, remain as you are. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in a nice warm round of applause? We'd like to invite Mr. Vic to come forward and present Mr. Andy Crenshaw with a token of appreciation. He's the organizing chairperson, Customer Experience Summit 2016, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it. Nice warm round of applause. Nice warm round of applause. Durian eating Andy Crenshaw. Thank you very much. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back for the final time this evening your organizing chairperson for CX Summit 2016, Mr. Vic, to say a few words in his closing remarks.
Hello, thank you for being a great audience. I think reaching here at past 6 and having so many of you still here, completing a very exciting meeting of minds is what we designed and set out to do. A lot of notes, a lot of pointers here, and I think from the event perspective, we have had 24 topics over 2 days, and I think it's just a little too much, but something that we all can take back because slides and contents are made available hereafter. I keep promoting the Frost and Sullivan report because it's real report references, benchmark studies. We will take the meeting of minds pointers into and turn it into a bit of a literature, and slides from the events over 2 days are quite important, and we'll make it available in the CCAM website. So we are very interested to make sure that we are putting knowledge back to the audience, to our members, and to drive the customer experience agenda forward. And looking back at it from a chairperson perspective, I feel fulfilled of what we set out to do, and I think we have achieved a lot. content-wise. The idea of taking this content back to your own areas of work and turning it into an agenda that transforms your organization as well as the industry is all your responsibilities and our joint responsibilities back at our workplace. At this point, I must thank a few people, the working committee, the CCAM secretariat led by Kelvin Kalandasamy, Asha, Lee, Amirul. They have been very instrumental in actually running multiple events at one go and bringing this together, because we're all not professional event producers. Secretariat runs as an association secretariat. They did a fantastic job. I've got extended working committees from the Expo, Selvaraj Willing, he's from Mbang. I've also got two colleagues from Maxis who joined me in the working committee, Laura Lowe and Nestasia, who is outside. In our event organizers, Missing Link Resources. And a lot of you have answered the call of duty to come and make this event successful, because it's not about just us doing it, but I think the brand partners, or all the brand partners here from Genesis to Citrix to Singers Technologies, Servion, Hewlett Packard, Oracle, Cisco, SPAC in collaboration with Hitachi, TMI Consultancy, Frost & Sullivan, and MDAC, as well as people like Andy Crenshaw, who comes back to put things back into the industries and associations that he was a founding member of. So there's a lot of goodwill. In this whole 2-month journey, we found a lot of people who want to contribute, people who want to share, people who are willing to make time and come and make this work. So I'm hugely inspired by the kind of support that we get within the industry, and we can only grow and evolve further. Customer experience topics will continue to evolve, no doubts about it, and I think it's all for us to catch glimpses of it or take inspiration of certain, some people call it evolution, some say it's a revolution in process, not sure. We will have to continue transforming our own business workplace agenda according to it. That's what I personally feel. So I hope as an event organizing committee we have done justice to your 2 full days here and your participation. So thank you very much. You've been a good audience. I don't want to keep you any longer. Give us all a big round of applause, guys. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, final words, Mr. Vignes, we say thank you once again. Let's give him a nice warm round of applause. There's a small jar of honey on the table for you to take home. We'd like to end the CS Summit 2016 on a sweet note. So on that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Have a pleasant evening and see you again soon.
Right?